Hello, everybody. Welcome into the NBA Front Office Show. It's Friday. You know what that means.
Front Office Friday! Last one of the regular season edition.
Let's go. Last one of the regular season. That's right. Sunday is the end of the regular season. We're almost here. Where the standings going to wind up in the West, who the hell knows? But this is such an exciting time. The playoffs, the postseason, nearly upon us. Studio Stu is here. He's fired up. We are too. Happy to see you all here. If you guys have any questions, comments, anything you want to throw in the chat, we'll respond to some of them here as we kick off, which should be an exciting weekend. Keith, not a bad time to drop a franchise high 52 points in a quarter if you're the Minnesota Timberwolves in last night's clutch win against the Grizzlies.
Yeah, they kind of wolvesed it for a minute there, where it looked like they had it, and then looked like they were pulling a repeat of the Bucks game, and then I mean, they're a weird team, man. We're 80 games in, and I said this morning on social media. I feel like they could make a West Finals run. I feel like they could be out in the first round. I said swept. That was being a little sarcastic. But, I don't have a real feel for this team, mostly because they're all over the place. They're either awesome or they kind of stink. And it's just weird. Last night was the awesome version.
Yeah, they were amazing. I mean, it was like just suddenly they turned it on and the Grizzlies were done. They had no shot. Looking at the West standings continue to be the Christmas vacation ball of lights. Trying to untangle it is extremely difficult, but it's going to be an exciting finish here in the West. I can't wait to see the way this goes here. All right, we've got
exactly 4 teams kind of locked in. We've got the Thunder, Rockets, Kings, and Mavs, and that's it. Everybody else is up for play in there within that. So we don't need to play the breaking news, but the Raptors, who made an interesting move by waiving Orlando Robinson and Cole Swider this week, they're going to convert AJ Lawson to a 2-year NBA contract, so well earned by him. That's coming out by Shams. We're not going to do the breaking news drop for a 2-way conversion with 3 days to go in the season, but good for AJ Lawson, who's played fairly well for them, and they still have one open roster spot. I think I mentioned this the other day. I would not be surprised if Robinson or Swider is brought back, but on a 2-year contract, so it carries into next season. They don't have to deal with free agency. We'll see, where that goes. The only reason I say that, the Raptors' other 2-way players, Oris Shamshi and Jared Rhoden, are both on 2-year 2-way deals, so there's no real reason to mess around with them.
That makes sense. That makes sense. All right, let's go here. We'll get to some of your questions, some of your comments coming in. Muffin Break said, do you guys think Reaves could develop into a number 2 option after LeBron retires? Keith, I would have never guessed that Austin Reaves would hit the level that he's at right now. So I think I'm done kind of, putting a ceiling on him. Could he be a number 2 option? Sure. Now, I think if it's a Luka and Austin pairing, you'd have to be very careful with what those other 3 players are, specifically on the defensive side of the ball. But he's played there. It's crazy because you would never think this going in. But there are moments with Luka and LeBron on the floor, and I'm like, they really need to get the ball to Austin this possession. You know what I mean? Like that's insane to me. But and yet he's played that well.
Yeah, he is as great as the other 2 are. There are times when it's like he's the one who's going to create something off the bounce. LeBron is much more of a power guy at this stage in his career, where he's going to overpower you. Luka's going to get to his spot, but Austin is the one who has like some blow by ability where he can go. I think you'd hit the nail on the head. He can be a number 2 if your other 3 guys are pretty good defenders and shooters. You're probably fine with that, especially offensively, with the way he can create, he can shoot. I think he's been a much, much improved passer this year. He's really done a nice job with that, where for his first couple years in the league, it was break down a defense and he was looking to score because that's what he was. He was a scorer. Now it's break down the defense, and if the right play is the pass, he's perfectly happy to make it. So, yeah, I think so. I think we're there. I'm going to ask it. And I'm going to do this, not Trevor. I'm the one keeping us on the Lakers train. What is the Lakers in 5 thing? I don't understand this. I just see a bunch of rhyming stuff and then Lakers in 5. Where did this come from?
It's a Shannon Sharp thing.
Got it. Okay.
That's what it's. He had this kind of sing-songy, this rhyming Lakers. I don't even remember what the original one was, and now it's back and forth and back, and everybody's throwing them out there. So that's what it comes from, and now everybody's doing it. I get, trust me, I get like 50 of them a night.
Oh,
when
I
we're doing
see.
the live post
Yeah.
shows.
Yeah, I see them all the time. I see people dropping them in on ours. I just didn't know where that came from. So okay,
Yeah.
all right, that explains it. Some of them are kind of funny.
Yeah,
even
some of
if
them
I
are.
didn't understand the point of it with that. So yeah.
Let's go to somebody asked.
Hold on. I
Go
gotta
ahead.
address this. Keith's showing his age. That happens every show. I'm very old, as we know. I don't watch any of those morning shows.
I don't either, and that's it. Like, unless I was like deeply ingrained in Lakers stuff, I wouldn't see that either because I don't watch the hot take shows.
Yeah, I can't do it though. I can't even put him on as background noise or anything.
It's too much yelling.
With that.
All right, let's
not 50 yet, BC, but we're closing in rapidly.
here's an interesting question though. Will Thomas Lasolo be the Grizz full-time coach next season, or do you think they move on? And I suppose we could apply the same to David Adelman with the Denver Nuggets.
Yep.
These are two guys getting shots here at the end of the season, but Lasolo has said many times, like, I don't have enough time to really put my stamp on this and change it, much. I can tweak things, but there's not enough time in the season to really like install new stuff. So my leaning because of that would be like, yeah, I think he may get a real shot here, especially with the understanding that he can only do so much in this limited time frame. It's not like he's getting and the same with Adelman, a real full shot to develop his team, his system.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought in Adelman because I think it's kind of the same for both guys, where it feels a little bit like if they do well and make a little noise in the playoffs, doesn't have to be a huge run. I think both teams have kind of said we're not really there this year with making these coach moves. Then it's okay to keep them around and see where it goes. I think Denver a little more so than Memphis is probably going to kind of have their choice of available coaches. Yeah. If there's a really good veteran coach available, they may go that direction. But I'm still not going to fully rule out like the Nuggets in the West Finals. Like they still have Jokic. Like he's still one of the best players. Now I will say, if Jamal Murray can't go, then I do rule that out. They're not going anywhere. But if he's back and can be a contributor, sure, Denver can make it to the West Finals. Why not? But that's probably maybe gets Adelman more in the mix if they're out in the first or second round. And same thing with Memphis. If they're out in the first or second round, they're probably going outside and full fresh start. I think Denver does scream like where they fired the general manager, and all the coaches are like remaining coaches. So now Adelman and his now assistants are all on expiring deals. I've also heard a bunch of front office members are on expiring deals. That may be we're fresh start central here in Denver.
But remember, Lasolo was brought in by the Grizz front office last summer when they replaced most of Taylor Jenkins' coaching staff. Yep. So that's like they already got their choices in-house. So it's a little bit different situation, but I mean, I think if they go on a run, if the Grizz go on a run, if the Nuggets go on a run, then I think that only increases the chances that they wind up sticking with those guys.
Yeah.
Are you still doing front office Friday during the playoffs? Hell yeah. Yeah, we definitely are.
And it starts to turn into talking about the playoffs and the off season. So we'll be doing every Friday, probably through summer league-ish. And we're both going to be doing some traveling at the end of the year, potentially for summer league. So we'll see what that looks like. But all the way through until like things really slow down with the NBA, and then we'll see. But we still try to do the Friday live shows because that's a great way to connect with everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's go here. Can we talk about it? ESPN analysts have no faith in the Lakers just because Golden State beat them in one game. I mean, that's the job, right? For an ESPN analyst, say stuff that will get people to react. That's kind of the state of the business now. But I don't put a lot of stock into that or worry about that kind of stuff all that much, just because you never know what's genuine these days and what's actual analysis and what is, I'm just saying this, hoping it gets clipped on social media and aggregated and all that.
Yeah, it is any big public team, they're going to swing wildly on them. They're the greatest team we've ever seen one day, and then the next day they're the worst team. And good luck that they even went around in the playoffs and those kind of things. They've done it to Boston multiple times throughout the court, including you'll never win a title shooting this many threes. Like, okay, we just saw it.
But that's done.
I mean, that's whatever. But yeah, they've done it to the Nuggets now. I've seen that here where now one of the discussions that I saw clipped on social media the other day is like how can Jokic even be anywhere near the MVP conversation, which is a little silly there, but I mean, you're right.
Everything has to be taken to the extreme. Everything, like you said, everything has to be the greatest ever or the worst ever, and then hope that people will respond to that. And there you go. Sad state of affairs. Spacey said, "What's the market value for Jonathan Isaac?" That's an interesting one. I would have to imagine, Keith, and obviously you're closer to, I mean, physically, you're right there in Orlando, but closer to the Magic. But I would have to imagine it's going to be an eye of the beholder situation, just given the injury history. I think would still make some teams fairly nervous about Jonathan Isaac, but depends on each team. There's not a time where I don't see him on the floor though, and just go, dude, that is a big human being, like bigger than I think a lot of people realize when he's out there. The length that he possesses, it really does take you back whenever you see him out there on the floor.
I've probably told this story before, but it's worth it because of what you just mentioned. His rookie year, he got checked into the game. The Magic were playing the Heat, very first game he's ever played. And do you remember Goran Dragic? Like, he loved the Nash dribble where you dribble underneath the rim, come out on the other side. And he liked to then turn and shoot a little fall away or a little kind of almost like turn and shoot like a leaning jump shot on the baseline.
Yeah.
Well, he picked up Jonathan Isaac on the switch, did the Nash dribble, turned, and then literally the best description I have is Jonathan Isaac looked like a pterodactyl spreading its wings and like blocked out any sight of the rim. And Dragic pivoted and was like, he's not supposed to be here.
Right.
And ended up having to kick the ball out, and the Magic forced a shot clock violation. And that was like, for me, I was like, holy crap. Like, if that's what this guy can be. Now, unfortunately, injuries have more than taken their toll on his career. But I'm glad you pulled up the contract. So contract this year, $25 million. He did one of those renegotiation and extensions. So he got a big bump. And why he got the bump this year, where he's actually got the highest salary on the Magic this season, is because the next 4 seasons are both a slight discount as well as include team protection for the Magic. So that $15 million next year is fully guaranteed, but that $14.5 million in 26-27 is only $8 million guaranteed, and he has to hit games played triggers to get the full amount. And I believe it's 52 games that season that he has to get to. So we're at a spot for Jonathan Isaac where let's see, can he hit those markers? And those last 2 years are fully non-guaranteed for Jonathan Isaac. So we're going to see, in the end, if he can hit those. That to me says, if you can put together a trade package, decent value, you're not giving up a lot for him, but you're going to have to match salary, but you have to have coverage. You still have to have another guy who can step in and play, and then a second guy who can then backfill the first guy's minutes off the bench or whatever in the rotation when Jonathan Isaac's not available, because you're probably going to have him about half the season.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the challenge with Isaac, unfortunately. But he is a lot of fun to watch when he's out there on the floor. He's a good player, man.
If the shot had come along, it would have been a lot better. Like it never really got there for Isaac.
Yeah. Johnny Test said, since Phoenix is going to be retooling, Bol Bol is probably out. What team could take a chance on him? Is that a foregone conclusion? Do you think that the Suns just move on from Bol Bol just because they're going to be changing a lot of stuff?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know.
Yeah.
Guys, he's not good. Like, I don't know. Like, I know Shaq gets on there and says all the stupidity he says, that he's just as good as Wembanyama, but he doesn't get to play. He doesn't get to play because he's not good. Like, his teams are historically worse when he plays. He has this really fun skill set until you watch him play a lot, which Phoenix went through twice this year. They didn't play him, then they did play him, then they didn't, then they started playing him again, and now they're back to not playing him. And Suns fans are like, yeah, he just can't play. He's not going to be traded with Durant. He's a free agent this summer. No one's putting Bol Bol in a sign and trade. That would only be to make math work, if anything, and that's very unlikely. So yeah, I mean, whoever wants to take a chance, sure, I guess. Like, I don't think I don't think it's gonna matter.
Who was it that for like years there was, we always thought, I think he was played for Minnesota, was going to be the next big thing. Not like the next breakout guy. It was and people were always pulling for him to get more minutes. Anthony Randolph, I think it was.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, and played for the Warriors, and then went on to have a really good overseas career, including being Luka's teammate on the Slovenian national team.
There you go.
For a couple runs.
Let's go. Diego said, can either of you guys recall a GM who went from being called for their job on a daily basis to fast track to the Hall of Fame like Rob Pelinka?
I mean, kind of all of them. Like,
yeah,
it's like if things are going good, everybody loves them, and if they're not, everybody wants them fired. It's
same with coaches too.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Like if things would go well, it's they're doing great, and then if they don't, they people want their heads.
Yeah, I mean, he built a title team already once, and then we'll see where it goes from here. But got Luka, so I get the premise of it. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, I'll use the Celtics comp. There was a period of time where people were like, got to get Danny Ainge out of here. Like, where is this team going? What is happening? And then it was like, oh, actually, we're okay with Danny Ainge. Then it went back to got to get him out of here when the team couldn't break through. So yeah, just a little weird.
Who is your pick for Defensive Player of the Year? Squid says Dyson Daniels. I'm on the Evan Mobley side of things. Is that where you fall as well? Okay.
Yeah.
And we haven't done our picks show or anything like that, but that's ultimately where I'm at is with Evan Mobley. It's close, but Dyson Daniels, he wins the Nickname of the Year award easily with the Great Barrier Thief.
Yeah. Defensive Player of the Year is really hard for a guard to win. I mean, even the year Marcus Smart won, he probably shouldn't have. It's just a really, really hard award because guards, they just don't have the same level of overall impact as a big man does. I know that sounds crazy, but you would basically have to completely shut guys down every night to have the same impact as a big does because of the rim protection, the shot blocking, and the bigs get the chance to do the perimeter defense. Guards, very, very few of them do anything as far as helping your rim protection numbers. So that's no knock on Dyson Daniels. 100% unanimous first team all defense.
Sure.
All defense too. I'm going to soapbox for a second here. That should still be by position. Like, that should not be positionless because you build a defense based on positions. You could not build a good defense with 5 centers. You just couldn't. It wouldn't be good. You wouldn't be able to get out and defend the perimeter the way you need to. So that, doesn't necessarily tell the story. But, I like Dyson Daniels quite a bit. I'm super excited. I mean, I love his defense. I'm really excited. He seems like he could be a long-term fit next to Trae Young because it seems like they finally nailed the guy who, or we don't have to give him a bunch of reps while Trae Young just kind of stands around 30 feet from the basket watching. Dyson Daniels is perfectly content to play second banana in their offense.
Yeah, which is huge for the Hawks moving forward, and they'll be an interesting team to watch this summer in terms of what they do. Obviously, they've got more games left to play this season. I'm not expecting them to make a deep run or anything, but they'll be interesting to watch this summer, especially if they can get their guys healthy. Jalen Johnson, get him healthy, and then we'll see what they can do.
It's a fun group. I mean, Zachary Rissache has been playing awesome since the turn of the calendar. He's played really
to get his legs under him in the NBA. He started to get his legs under him and starting to look a lot more comfortable, finding his spots easier, all of that.
Yeah, he shoots such a smooth shot too. Like, just gets good lift. It's clean. I think I think we're gonna. I don't know that he ever delivers on what we think of as number one overall pick value, but I think he's gonna get pretty close. I think he's really really good.
All right, let's go. This is an interesting topic. Do y'all think Kyrie Irving will be back next season? Do you think he'll stay a Maverick after he comes back? So I do think he'll be back, but Keith, there's a big question now. Like, what? There was talk prior to his injury that he's headed for like a max deal. What do the Mavs do now with Kyrie Irving? He's got a player option for next year, but he is extension eligible this summer.
Yeah, I think what you're going to see is he opts out and signs a new long-term deal. I mean, he could do that through an extension. It in a lot of ways, it doesn't really matter. For the bulk of what we care about is he'll be back with the Mavs. But this year, before he got hurt in 50 games, so not a small sample size, 24.7 points per game, 47% from the field, 40% from three, 92% from the free throw line. So, I mean, super productive. And remember, a lot of those games were without Luka because you had the pre-trade where Luka was hurt, and then you had the post-trade where Luka wasn't there. I mean, just an unbelievably special season for Kyrie Irving. But then when we start looking at it, all right, well, Kyrie Irving just turned 33 a few weeks ago. 33, small guard coming off a torn ACL. Where does that go? I don't think he's going to get a max, but what I think you might see is maybe he gets an extra year involved, maybe with another player option, and he might be into let's do like a 2+1 kind of situation here, where that gives both him and Dallas a little bit of flexibility. And I think that's what happened. I do think he'll be back in Dallas because I think the whole vision of this team was AD and Kyrie, fill it out with role players around him, and that's where we go.
Absolutely. That's absolutely it. And Studio Stu checking in.
He's purring loud.
Yeah, he's like, hey, it is front office Friday. I'm excited. Somebody said, this is what always gets me. Like people say, oh, don't panic, don't be scared of any teams. No, I'm not scared of any particular team. When people say like, oh, don't worry about where the Lakers land. Like that's what we do this time of year. We project out where teams could potentially land. And is there going to be a preferred path? There's always going to be a preferred path.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A couple people I saw asking, are we doing a award show? Will we do postseason picks? That'll be all next week. So that won't be in our live shows. That'll be in I don't know. We'll figure it out. But probably will be in our recorded show. Oh, there's one. We'll still do the award show. Yeah. We're gonna do our picks. And then we'll probably Monday and we'll preview the play-in tournament, and then we'll probably get into it. And then we pick the series when we know them.
Yeah.
That's when we do it. And we do team and games, and then we do that. And we'll usually, if we follow the same format, we're doing this on the fly here. We haven't even talked about it. We'll pick the first round series. Then we'll pick our East and West finals. And then we'll update as
pick series by series.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Do you want to do our draft lottery since
let's go. Yeah, since Johnny
Johnny's asking for it. All right, let's go here. So the
big
draft
win for bad win for Utah over Washington the other day. That
was good. So let's see what we get here. One spin will determine the fate of the universe.
Here we go.
Oh,
the Sixers.
The silver lining for the Sixers.
Gross.
They get Cooper Flag. Why is that gross?
Because I don't want Philly to get Cooper Flag.
Would you then be worried about Philly in the East?
No, I just don't want them to get him.
Oh, okay.
I don't like the 76ers very much. Okay. You have to remember, my entire life was get through the Sixers to get to the Lakers.
Sure.
So, there was a point there where Sixers were, for Boston fans, were right up there. It was like the little brother to the big brother Lakers rivalry in Celtics fandom. So,
well, I mean, there was a point where the Kings were that for the Lakers, but that was 20 years ago too.
Yeah, but the Lakers always beat them.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Boston actually lost to Philly a couple times.
The Hornets get second pick. The Pels move up a bit here and get 3. The Wizards, drop down to get the 4th pick. Utah gets 5. Brooklyn, Toronto. How about Houston? Right, I was saying Houston's got almost a 4% chance of getting the number 1 overall pick via Phoenix. That's pretty crazy.
People have asked. There's no protection on that.
Yeah.
They go wherever Phoenix lands in there. And Phoenix, in case anybody hadn't seen it, they are officially eliminated. Somebody asked a question about them, so we'll get to that in a minute here. But yeah, Phoenix is out. So, and Portland's moved past them now, or I guess into a tie with them. So, yep.
There they are. There they are. All right. Well, not a bad spin, I think, and we'll see what the actual draft lottery brings.
Hawks too. Getting a little extra pick there from the Kings.
Mm-hmm.
They top 12 protected, so Kings need a little lottery luck to keep it if they're going to keep it.
Yeah. Yep. Pico Degao said so. Then Flag isn't staying at Duke for a second year.
He's not.
That would be pretty unprecedented.
It's funny. Because I've said that very often on both Twitter and Blue Sky that he's not staying, and I had somebody be like, he hasn't declared yet, and it's like, yeah, they have a couple weeks yet. Like he doesn't need to do it today. Like he's going in there. Maybe he watches the lottery and then changes his mind. That's not gonna be how it goes either. Because I forget when the NCAA withdrawal date is. I can get that. I believe it might be like the 25th or something.
I mean, we're not going to get it's been a long time, but a Steve Francis situation or.
Yeah, I mean, that's more likely than him saying I'm going back to school.
Sure. Sure. All right. Is the Suns missing the playoffs the death of the constructed super team, especially with the new CBA?
I don't know. Teams will still try. It all goes in cycles.
I think it's the warning shot. I think this was the big test case, I thought, because it was right when the new rules came out that the Suns went, nope, don't care. We're putting 3 stars together anyway.
Yep.
And we talked about at the time that, if the Suns pulled it off and it worked, maybe teams would continue to be bold, but if not, they would become the cautionary tale. And it's the latter right now. They're the cautionary tale about what can happen if you have too high of a payroll, particularly if you spend on 3 stars that don't necessarily fit together. What can happen?
Yep. Yeah. If we see it now, it's going to be more where 2 of the guys were drafted guys, and it happens before they're on the 35% max.
Yeah.
Deals where they get the 3rd guy in there. Probably, ideally it'd be where like they pop very early in their rookie deals, and then you can get them before they even get that 3rd guy, before they're even off the rookie scale contract. That'll be the way it'll go. And then, but that's the idea of the current CBA is make it hard, right? Make these conversations difficult for teams. How long can you keep this together? And it's no longer just about spend. We're going to hit with financial penalties. As we've talked about, they made there be real basketball ramifications to this too that make these a very difficult conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. That's what the new CBA was all about, to take, team owners like the Bombers of the world, where the money is infinite, and punish them in a different way, and punish them in their ability to build out the roster. Keith, I've got one here that I want to mention. So now, after the results of last night's games, the Pacers are that much closer to the Knicks. The Pacers now won 6 in a row. They beat what was left of the Cavs. They benched a lot of their guys last night.
Yep.
And then the Knicks lost. But I'm seeing out there this thought from Knicks fans that they would rather play the Bucks, who they swept this season, than the Pistons.
Yep.
Do you buy that at all, that the Knicks might be kind of stealth tanking down into the 4 seed to try to get the Bucks in round 1?
I've also seen they'd rather get Cleveland in the second round than Boston, who swept them this year. So, I mean, maybe Tibbs did sit guys last night in the Knicks loss to the Pistons. I think Anunoby sat, Hart sat, and Mitchell Robinson all didn't play. So I think that was maybe let's see what they do tonight for the Knicks. That'll be a little interesting. Does Brunson play? Does Towns play? Do Bridges play? They're on the second night of a back-to-back. The comments out of New York were, we want to be healthy for the playoffs. That can sometimes be code for we're going to bench some guys and go. So we'll see. But I believe they have a couple easy games. If I remember it. Yeah, if you can pull that up.
Well, they've got the Cavs.
Well, the Cavs, but I don't think the Cavs.
But the Cavs aren't playing anybody. And then Brooklyn.
So yeah. So I mean, let's see. Where it goes for the Knicks. The Pacers if I'm right on this, I think the Pacers have to finish ahead of the Knicks.
They can't tie.
The Knicks have the tiebreaker.
And the Pacers get Orlando. They both play Cleveland. Let's see.
And I think Orlando's sitting some guys tonight too, because
Okay,
Orlando's now locked into the seven seed.
Here I've got Pacers 0-1 against the Knicks. Did they play them
they only
all?
played 3 times.
They played 3 times.
They were
played
early.
all early in the season. They're 0-2. So if they only played 3 times, there's the other one. They're 1-2 against the Knicks. So the Knicks do have the tiebreaker.
Yep.
So it would be pretty tough for them to leapfrog them there. All right, let's go here. Does Keith buy that the rumor that the Celtics tried to trade Brown and White for KD? Now, obviously, that was not this season.
No, this was back the summer before he got traded to the Suns. If everybody remembers, KD came out with the trade request came out. The Nets couldn't find a trade. They took him off the trade market. That's where the Kevin Cannon came from.
That's right.
We started doing basically daily Kevin Durant updates. Then they took him off the market and then ultimately traded him to the Suns ahead of the trade deadline that year. Yeah, I mean, that was pretty well reported that was the offer Boston made was Jaylen Brown. Then they needed to send somebody else, and the thought process was it was Derek White that was going to be put in there along with draft picks. So now, I mean, there'll be revisionist history and a bunch of, well, we didn't really do that and all that. But at the time, too, like, this is not new. I don't know why this came back up, unless it's people thinking maybe they re-pursue that now. What's that, a year and a half later or so? But I think the thought process at the time, and Jaylen Brown put it best, was, look, if you're being mentioned in trade talks for Kevin Durant, that probably means you're pretty good. And he kind of, let it, roll off like water off a duck's back, and, off he went, moved on, and ended up winning conference finals and NBA finals MVP. So, I'm not super surprised. Can I pull this one up real quick? Boston Lakers finals and we dance on Keith's grave. Is that what's at stake here? Like, if the Celtics lose to the Lakers in the finals, I get killed?
What?
I'm not. I did not agree to this.
This is sports.
Yeah.
We're taking things way too far.
Yeah. I'm not going into the Coliseum here.
Oh, my God.
I'm willing to put my life on the line for things I have a hand in, but, I'll be watching at home like everybody else. Like, that's not okay.
Oh, man. That would, that would be a little too intense, I think.
Yeah,
we're going too far there.
Yeah,
we're putting lives on the line for sports.
Okay. I get a lot of living. I'm going to the doctor. I'm doing all these things to be healthy and be around for a while. So I'm not looking forward to that. But yes, as we do every year, we root for Celtics Lakers finals because we're nothing if not exceptionalism homers here.
That's it. That's it. Is there ever a world where the East can be as competitive as the West in a few years? So as much parity
in a few years? I don't know.
I mean, some of it depends on how the draft lotteries go.
Yeah. So here's my theory on this. What happens in the West is there's over the last two and a half decades, so 20 to 25 years, the Western Conference has had, let's call it 8 to 10 pretty good teams most years. Then what happens is the teams that are one of those teams, for whatever reason, like New Orleans this year, stumbles and falls. Then they just, at some point, it's like, we can't get it together. So they fall into the lottery. They add a good player, but they're already a good team. They just had a rough season, and then they're back in it. And then what's happened over the years is you have had then these 15 teams in the West all kind of build up at various points to the point where most years you go into the West and it's like, right now, it's like, all right, these probably 2-3 teams aren't going to be very good. And then everybody else, you, without a lot of work, can talk yourselves into being good. That's what's kind of happened here to cause this. Beyond that, the East, for a period of about a decade, but like roughly early 2000s into the late 2010s, had a bunch of horribly run teams. And the West had better run teams, and it just all kind of fell apart on it. And the East has been very good at the top of the conference, but then it's been the depth of the conference hasn't been very good. It's going to take a while to flip that
Right.
back, or to even flip it back to even.
Yeah, I mean, like I think Orlando can have a much better season next year than they did this year. That can be a team on the rise. Detroit certainly a team on the rise, but then, like a lot of it comes down. We've seen a lot of stars go from east to west, and it's just kind of piling into over the years and piling into the clown car essentially, of just getting stuck with so many good teams together. But we've also seen teams come back pretty quickly. We're starting to see more of that, especially if the East wins the next couple of drafts, and let's say it's, I don't know, like, is it Charlotte can be flipped from being a bad team to being a pretty good team because they got Cooper Flag or something like that. That's the kind of stuff that can turn things around pretty quickly and then add some firepower to the conference.
I mean, and then we joke about it every time we do the lottery spin, but it's things like Victor Wembanyama, the Spurs win that lottery, right?
Yep.
It's not an
and
East
then
team that
the Hawks win the Zach Risacher lottery, which Risacher is very good, but it's not like Wemby where you're like, oh my God, they got that guy,
Yeah. Guys, don't do politics talk on Front Office Friday in the chat. What are we doing? There's a lot of other places you could talk that. That's not what we do.
Plenty of places to be angry about politics. Here we just get angry about basketball. That's all.
Yeah. Go back to arguing about
not even really angry. We never did our April Fool's show.
I know we did it
where we just do hot takes and we get mad at each other the whole time.
We should have. Yeah, we missed it. Missed our. No, we'll do it on like May 1st, and everybody like, "What is this?" Like, we're starting a new thing.
That's right.
We do not have a mod. It's we handle it as best we can. But if you just stop, there's your moderation. Just stop.
Oh, somebody said besides the Hulk, Keith is the only decent green guy.
I'll take it.
Man, I'm still upset that the Hulk didn't get like his revenge in Endgame. That he didn't get his I don't know, his kind of his comeback moment. I think they should have stuck with the original plan of the Hulk breaking out of the Hulkbuster armor in Infinity War.
Yeah. I mean, he was the one who did the like original, or I guess not the original, the second snap.
The snap. He did that.
Yeah. Right. Have you seen the whole thing where people are like, hey, there's a whole long thing where it's so he undid the snap, and we see it in I think it's Spider-Man. We see it most where it's like the kids all blip back, and it's in the middle of a basketball game, running into each other and all that stuff. I think it's people were like, what about the people who are on airplanes? Like, does the plane just crash? And then somebody said, no, the stones gave, like, how the official explanation, I guess maybe this is explained somewhere else in maybe the comics, the stones give them the power to be like, take care of everybody. Like, don't put anybody in danger as you bring them back. So, yeah.
Okay. That's a good way to hit other than just, magically teleporting a bunch of people back into the midair and then they're falling. Yeah, that's
well, and like there's at the end of I think it's at the end of Infinity War, where Fury is like he's sending the message to Captain Marvel. And like you see a helicopter crash into a building. And it's like I just assume all those people are still dead because they didn't get blipped. Like I'm not sure how that works.
Yeah. I mean, but that's like there's plenty of things like that. There, the kind of the things that are left out there. Like, is Hercules ever going to actually go after Thor? The little plot points and stuff.
Those ones are like, we're done. Anything related to the Eternals other than the mention in the new Captain America. Tam the pessimist checking in. How about Daredevil? Watched already? Yeah, I've really enjoyed Daredevil.
I have not watched the most recent episode.
Okay. It was
not watched the most recent one yet.
It was pretty good. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's the first ones where you could kind of see the seams where like they stitched it together as they cut stuff and did new stuff and all that. I think as it's gone on, it's gotten better. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I've been enjoying Daredevil. It's been really good. I like that. I want to see more of the Punisher in it, and I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. And yeah, I know it's been good. It's been good. That's for sure. And I'm excited to see where this all goes when we get into the Doomsday stuff and everything. Like, that's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
All right, let's go here.
Oh, man, can I do? Oh, go ahead, do that one, and then I'm gonna flag one because
baseball-like series was cool in the NBA. Want to see more of it? Could be good for ratings. So the idea of you play the same team like 3 times in the course of a week. I actually think the downside of that is if either side has somebody hurt, then you play, and I think injuries matter so much in the NBA, then you play that team, you get all your games against that team without that player. It can just swing things. So especially when like right now we're looking at all the tiebreakers and stuff like that, it can just matter a lot. I think I prefer it spaced out of how many of when you see teams over the course of the season.
Yeah, that I prefer it that way too, simply because you could, if you do the baseball series, and I get it because it reduces travel, that part is very good for the players, but you don't get necessarily the best feel for the teams. And I fully understand some of it you have to do obviously before the trade deadline. Like multiple teams are completely different teams now. The Warriors, the Lakers, the Mavericks than they were pre-trade deadline, right? Because they made major trades. But the problem with the baseball series is if you're rolling into town the day after a guy rolls an ankle, now you're not getting to play that player 2 in a row, and or they come into your building or whatever it is. So that's one of the holes. But I think it's good. I don't know how good it'll be for ratings. I don't know that that's going to change very much, but I think I think what the NBA needs is you need more playoff series multiple years in a row where teams they really develop that rivalry. That's where rivalries are born.
We need them
playoff
to not like each other.
Yeah, a little bit more at least for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's go here. Billy's. Oh, you had one. All right, we'll go there after this. Braun is technically clutch player of the year. Reaves.
Oh, that's what I was like.
Most improved player, right? I don't know. Is it like he's had some big fourth quarters? I'll admit I have not spent a lot of time looking at clutch player of the year to see what those stats look like. As far as Reaves most improved player, he is in the mix there now. I've seen him in the betting odds. I still don't. He's not like the favorite to win it or anything like that. It's still Cade Cunningham. Do you think that players who were number 1 overall pick should not be eligible for most improved player?
No. I think that's I think you can be in a position where, and I'm not saying this is Cade Cunningham at all, because I think the vast majority of his issues were injury related. But he has gone up a level this year, and he's made arguably the more important jump this year from good player to great player, which is the one where you really want to see. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, if you had what if you had 5 bad years? Like, what if James Wiseman shows up next year? That's probably not a great pick. He's coming off a torn Achilles. What if he comes back next year and he's like dominant? Like he's 25 points per game. Like, why can't they? Just because he was a former high pick? Like, I don't know. Now, if you're doing it in year 2, that's probably a little off. But I don't know. I just get rid of most improved player. It's such a dumb award. Like, I really don't. Like, I don't know. It's too much. That's way too much of voters making up their own criteria for it. Like,
and I agree with you. I don't think you should be ineligible to get it if you're the number 1 pick or number 2 pick or whatever. I think if you improved a bunch, you should still be eligible for it. It's not my favorite award either. But my first thought was, while people are saying maybe Austin should be higher, I think Ivica Zubac isn't getting enough love. Right now with what he's done this year.
I don't know because there's been a lot of player of the year love either.
Yeah, he's been phenomenal. He's been so good.
Yep. What's Mike Muscala up to for the Lakers these days? He's doing anything for them?
The Moose.
Oh, yeah. I love it in Philly because he got him Tyrese Maxey. So
that's right.
Yeah. I'm retired now. Actually, I knew what he was really up to. I had to do the cheap dig.
that was so brilliant. That was one of those ones that that was like Luol Deng, Timofey Mozgov. Like even with the new TV money coming in and everything, like everybody knew that was just too much. Like we knew it the second that those deals came out that those are bad deals. That was the same thing with the Zubac trade. Everybody knew. Like the second that went down, you went, "Oh, that's bad.
Yeah,
that's not a good trade. That's not a good trade."
Yeah. Let's see. I'm gonna pull a few from the queue. Admar, will you guys go live for the draft lottery? Probably not. We don't usually do that. I think it's not I don't know. It's like too drawn out. Like, I don't think we need to do that. We'll break it down the next day,
Sure.
for sure. And it also heavily depends on what the game schedule is that night too. Like if they're, because it's usually right in the before a game starts. 86 days until free agency is going to be as slow as last year. Is free agency really slow last year?
Well, it's just the free agency isn't as big of a thing now because most teams don't have cap space. But I don't know that it'll necessarily be well. Okay, if Sebastian is a Lakers fan, which I believe he is, and I could be wrong, but assuming Sebastian's a Lakers fan, that's where free agency was. I mean, it was painful last year. You're just everything's happening, and everybody's on pins and needles, waiting, and they just did nothing.
Yeah,
and so that was free agency, the experience for Lakers fans last year. But in general, I think the free agency, it's going to be more, what do we see on the trade front around that time?
Yeah, and that'll be really, that starts a couple days out from the draft straight through to that first night of free agency. Semi-related, do you think LeBron will still take a pay cut? Who knows? It probably depends on
who they can get.
Who they can get, what they need to do flexibility wise. I think now he's put it out there in the world, like he's open to that. But I think him and his reps played it absolutely correct. If there's something you need me to do, he's not going to do a massive one. Like we're starting with what if LeBron takes the minimum?
That's not
going to happen. But if it's like, all right, you need me to take $45 million, okay, like because we can then get player X, Y, or Z. Yeah, I'd probably be open to that. This was the one I liked from Tim. How about eliminating conferences and letting each team go against the other 29 teams twice, which would get a total of 58 games. They could eliminate back-to-backs, as well as stretch the schedule to rest more. Yeah. Trevor's doing the money symbol. That's it. No one's going to give up half their home games. Like that's the problem. That's where the issue is. If you could, I think there are ways you can reduce the schedule, do more games that are part of the in-season tournament that maybe boost things a little bit for the overall number of games, but you're not going to see a drastic reduction in games just simply because the teams don't want it. And it's the teams, the players, everybody. Nobody wants to leave money on the table. Like they're all collectively perfectly happy with an 82 game season.
Exactly. All right, let's go. We'll do rapid fire through some of these ones here. Have you watched Invincible? So good. I have not.
Yeah, I haven't either. All I know is it seems like it's pretty dark, and I don't do a lot of dark shows. That's not. I can tend to spiral at times, and I don't need things that are going to cause me to spiral.
I'm generally the same way. I'm generally that way too. Like I don't like stuff that gets super dark and super negative and all of that. But I will say I love The Boys. Although it got very like political and almost preachy in the last season that they had. But
I have not watched the last season.
Yeah.
I think I didn't watch. I don't know. Maybe I did. I don't remember. But yeah, I did not. I didn't like when it's spoiler, because this is now at least a couple years old. The one like turned out she was like, like Mrs. Hitler or something. And I was like,
oh yeah,
what are we doing?
Yeah, Stormfront.
Yeah, where are we at here? Like I was like, I'm not really big on that.
Well, that was a play on what they did with the character in the comics and how that all played out. But still, it was, they got, it's a lot of it is shock value. It's shock value. For me, I don't like the Game of Thrones style shows and stuff like that. I don't want to get attached to a character and then that character just dies, right? And like everybody's just constantly dying and getting killed off and all of that. Like it's not my thing.
Yeah, I did watch all of Game of Thrones, but that's because I started that like 2 seasons in, and then I got hooked on it, and I was like, all right, well now I need to see how it ends, and I kind of wish I never had.
People saying it's not too dark, it's very heartfelt. Again, I just haven't given it it hasn't come up on my queue.
I'll check it out
at the moment, but
summer maybe.
Yeah, that'll be a summertime thing.
Things that I don't know, maybe summer 2029 when I don't know. I put all this stuff on the list, and then it's like, oh, there's like a random like Eurobasket game on. Let me watch that instead.
Exactly. Let's go here. If a 4th year on a 2-way contract, only played for a G League team and never the mother team. I like that, the mother team. If would he still be eligible for a two-way contract because he never played in the NBA? That's a good
Yeah,
question.
and then like there's a little add-on. Will it change if he also didn't play in the G League? So the answer is no, because if you're on the roster, you get a year of service. The only time this changes at all is if a player, well, so I shouldn't have probably said no. If they never play in an NBA game, players who have 4 years of service but missed an entire season and did not play due to injury. So this was like the Harry Giles rule that they pushed through, where he had 4 years of service because he was on a roster but missed one entire season. Then they'd be eligible. So I think that would apply here. I'd need to dig in a little bit more to make sure. But yeah, I think that would get them that extra year of two-way eligibility. And what I'm not going to try to pronounce G is referencing here is players can't have more than 4 years of serve. You can't technically be more than in their fourth year and be eligible to play in the G League on a two-way contract, unless it's the scenario I just called out.
All right, so that was a interesting one there. People in the chat are not happy with my thoughts on Game of Thrones. Look, it's what I don't like it when characters die. I didn't even like it when Iron Man died. Like I don't like it when characters die. It's so it bothers me. So that's just not my thing. I know if it's your favorite show, I'm not trying to insult your show or anything like that. Love it all you want.
Yeah, people like what you like for sure. Just
all right, let's go here. Do you guys find it as annoying as me when refs hold the ball for what seems like 5 minutes and then won't put it back in play while they're waiting to see if a coach wants to challenge a call?
No.
It's frustrating when it's happening against your team. That's when people get upset.
Sure.
It's because you want to put the ball back in play and go. I mean, we see that strategy in the NFL all the time. The hurry up so they don't get a chance to review it. And it does seem like we see moments where, because you get the ball goes to the ref's standing there and won't hand the ball to the player to put it in play because they're waiting to see if they're going to challenge or not. It's frustrating when it's happening against your team, sure. And you can question, should that be a thing or not? But like everything ref related, as long as it's consistent, that's all we can really ask for.
Yep.
What's more likely for the Jazz? Another tank or big game hunting with the potential all-star level movement and team resetting?
I think it depends on what draft pick they get. If they get the first overall pick, I think you're going to see them moving. Spoiler alert, where the Jazz are leading off the offseason previews on Spot Track. That'll maybe be up later today, but we'll certainly be up by the weekend. So they're, if they get the first overall pick, maybe even the top three and get Harper or Bailey too. Those are my top three guys. Then I think you try to move things forward and into contention and see where you can go. If you don't, you probably slow play it a little bit more. A lot of people love this next draft too.
Yeah, that's right.
Quite a bit. So there's some major top end talent coming in 2026. Again, that's the reason why the league's in great shape. We got talent flowing in all over the place.
Johnny said, how far is Houston going in the playoffs? I mean, pick any team in the West. How far are they going in the playoffs? Like, it'll be tough. I do wonder if Houston is so dependent on offensive rebounds to make up for their own poor efficiency on the offensive end, because they're not great as far as a shooting team, but they crush the offensive glass. I mean, and not just because there's a lot of offensive rebounds because they miss a lot. Their offensive rebound percentage is number one in the NBA by a solid amount. So this is a good team. I do wonder though if that weakness in terms of their offensive efficiency, aside from the offensive glass, winds up being their undoing in the postseason. But I think they are a difficult out for anybody. They're a very physical team. They're a fun team. I enjoy watching Houston, but I don't see them getting out of the West, but I think they could give anybody a real run.
I think they need to play teams that aren't going to stress them too much when they have the ball. If they play a really good, disciplined defensive team that is basically going to say, all right, Amin Thompson, you hit 5 3-pointers today and we lose, tip of the cap, good on you.
Yeah.
That's going to be the issue. I think I think one thing you're going to see the Rockets, even with Fred VanVleet back, I think you're going to see them put Thompson more in on ball positions because that neutralizes teams playing off him. You have to guard him if he has the ball. And that's going to be the thing I think you're going to see them do. And a lot of stuff designed to get him downhill. I like the way they're really kind of messing around with the Adam Şengün pairing together more.
Yeah.
That can be something kind of interesting there with that. So yeah, I think that'll be really something for the Rockets to go to at times. I think they can do some damage with that. I think defensively they'll be in most every game. Just going to be offensively if they can score enough points.
All right, let's go here. Do you think the NBA will crack down on the firing of coaches earlier in their contracts? No, because the coaches are still getting paid.
Yeah,
it's not like the coach doesn't get paid. They still get paid for the remainder of that contract. And if teams want to do that, if teams want to fire their coach every year and then hire a new coach and they're paying 4 coaches at the same time, they can do that. So I don't see any reason why to stop teams from firing coaches if they want to.
Yep. Yeah. I don't. Yeah. No.
Is flag a 3 or a 4 at the NBA level?
Yes.
Yes, that's what I was going to say too. Yes.
Yeah, he's a combo forward. It's he's not going to be a 4 that plays up as a 5. But yeah, he can play either forward spot. You probably play him as a very big 2 if you had shooting bigs on the floor. You'd be okay with that because there's ball handling and passing ability. So, but yeah, probably I'm not saying he's going to be like Jason Tatum, Paolo Banchero, but that's like oddly enough 2 other Duke guys where it's like, they're just a forward. They're playmaking forward.
Natalo said, question, worst series loss you experienced as a sports fan?
I have 2.
Oh man. I mean, it was way back in the 80s. There was the Lakers losing to Houston on a buzzer beater. But let me think. Worst series
I have my 2 that I can give you.
Yeah, go ahead and give me yours. I know one already off the top of my head, but go ahead.
So 87, Celtics losing to the Lakers. I was still very young and didn't understand like they'd won the title a year before. I didn't understand guys were playing hurt for ball. Like I didn't get it. So like I was just a kid. So that one really stung. The Yankees losing to the Diamondbacks in the World Series, that absolutely crushed me. I hate Tim McCarver solely because everything he said came true in that 9th inning when Mariano Rivera failed to close the game out, where he's like, well, actually, righties hit Rivera better because the cutter doesn't break in on them, and they tend to get a lot of blue pits, and you can steal off Rivera, and now I'm spiraling, and I don't go there. And then the 2010 finals, just brutal. That the Celtics pissed that one away against the Lakers. Kobe played awful. They could have won that. If you just look at the box score of that game 7, you're like, how did Boston lose this game?
It was from my perspective, it was the most beautiful, ugly game ever.
Oh my God, disgusting basketball.
That was so ugly. That was that game 7, like everybody had their nerves going and that you could see it.
Both teams were done. Like if you had to play a game 8, I don't even know what it would have looked. It would have been like, we're playing 1st to 10 and nobody had anything left.
For me, like 08 is obviously up there, but 04 was rough. That one I remember was a tough one, losing to the the Pistons won. That was so frustrating because you were like expecting the Lakers to win that one, to win that series going in, and then to lose to Detroit the way they did, and you were like, man, if they just did this, if they just did that, that was a frustrating, especially with by the end, like Slava Medvedenko was starting it, like you could just see the injuries just mount with the Lakers there, and then the other ones that were rough. I mean, like I said, 08, of course, that was tough. I didn't like that Lakers-Dallas series. I'm trying to remember the year. The one where Andrew Bynum finished it off by like elbowing JJ Barea.
Oh, yeah,
That just felt gross.
Yeah. That was that Was that the year? That was the year they 12? 12?
Yeah, 2011, I think it was. I think that
2011,
was
yeah.
the year the Mavs
The
won
year
the
the
whole thing.
Mavs won the title, right?
Yeah.
The Heat. Yeah. Like a couple people are asking about like individual, like I was trying to stay true and answer a series question. Individual games, 100% Patriots undefeated season losing to the Giants because I was in
Oh.
the building. Like we went to that Super Bowl and watched them lose. My wife and I, we were living in Southern California at the time, about a 5-hour drive. And we walked out, got in the car, called my parents, and we're like, hey, we're just driving straight home. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Stopped once for gas, grabbed food, did not talk for 5 hours until we got home. And I literally pulled in the driveway at the place we were living in California. And I literally was like, fuck, how did they lose? Apologies for my language. Like, and that was
That
like,
might be a front
where,
office show
yeah.
first.
And that's like where it
Yes.
opened back up. So, yeah, that was just, that still is, that went from being, no lie, one of the top like 3 days in my life to a, one of the top worst days in my life, which if that's one of the worst days, that's okay. But yeah.
Yeah, that's certainly a rough one. Anyway, those are some bad.
Everybody's laughing.
Those are some bad.
If you guys only knew, like I try to keep it very, very clean on the show. So I apologize for that for anybody with little ears, listening with that. So yeah.
I will go here. That Braun. You know what? Actually, one of my, it wasn't a series, but one of my worst was the Kobe Achilles tear.
Yeah,
that was in terms of on the court. Obviously, what happened with Kobe, the tragedy and all of that, much worse.
Sure.
But in terms of in an actual game, that moment was absolutely brutal. That was like, because that at that point you're going Achilles, he may be done. That may be we may not see him again on the court.
I had never seen the interview he gave. They were talking about it in the context of like a bunch of guys like who have gotten hurt, and girls too, because this happened in college basketball as well, where they got hurt and then it was like they shot the free throws. And I saw it was shortly before he passed away. It was an interview with Kobe where Kobe they're like, why did you shoot the free throws? And he was so candid. He's like, well, a couple reasons. One, he goes, my mindset was like, if I don't shoot these free throws, I can't come back in the game. And then he laughed. He's like, obviously I wasn't coming back in the game, but he was like, it was going through my head. Like, these might be the last points you ever have a chance to score, in the NBA. And then he's like, and also he goes, if I didn't shoot the free throws, I would have cried. And he's like, and I was like, I can't cry in front of everybody. Like, I need to get up there, shoot the free throws, and get off the court. So, yeah, just I mean, sucked that he tore his Achilles, but kind of did give us one of those like all-time moments of like stepping up and draining them both. But yeah,
and part of why Kyrie went and shot the free throws after tearing his ACL.
I think that's when I saw them play the Kobe interview where they were talking to him about that. That's like so I've been you're probably not watching any of it, and I wouldn't blame you for it. The Celtics City documentary on HBO Max. Part of what is really hitting home for me is one, like it sucks always when we lose these guys, but you lose their stories, right? Like you're never like Bill Walton. They filmed with him shortly before he passed away, asking all about like going against the Celtics before he was a Celtic, then the end of his time, his career with Boston, and like it was. Like, and it just hit me. I'm like, we're never going to hear like another new Bill Walton story. Like it just, it sucks. The other thing that's really coming out, and they got some interviews with Jerry West too, before he passed away. These guys who have all hit the pinnacle of their sport, they all won championships. They all, are Hall of Famers, all historically great players. Every single one of them, Jerry West, Bill Walton, Magic, Bird, when they talk to them in there, how much the losses stick with them even after they've won.
They hate to lose.
The pain for these guys that they just feel I realize it's a lot of like Celtics propaganda, so it's right up my alley, but it's super well done, and there's a lot of really good stuff in there especially on the Celtics Lakers like rivalry stuff. And there's a lot. The most recent was basically the end of the Bird era. Celtics, and there's a lot of good stuff in there with him and Magic, and a lot of really good James Worthy stuff in there. And James Worthy gives an all-time quote. Like, this interview probably happened within the last year, and like they basically were like, "What do you think about the Celtics? You played them a lot," and he goes, F the Celtics. Like, that's like his answer. So
That's
I'll keep it clean there. And then there's an all-time Robert Parrish quote about what he would do if he saw Bill Laimbeer walk in the room right then. And I was like, are they going to have him walk in? And then I realized why they were not, because Parrish basically was like, I'd try to kill him. Like, it was, it's like they haven't played in 40 years. Like,
yeah,
it's really well done. I highly recommend everybody checks that out.
That's awesome. That's awesome. The LeBron backward. I don't know if you saw that possession, Kate. The Harlem Globetrotters.
Yeah.
That whole possession was absolutely nuts. I just kind of want to end on a funny thing. Oh, is Gafford to LA realistic in the offseason?
Maybe.
Who knows? Maybe. But
I mean, that's in the range of the contract you're probably looking at.
Sure.
Like, don't like $30-40 million contracts. Yeah. And then I'll end on a positive Celtic one. Towards Ray Allen. Seems like KG and Ray still don't speak. No, they've buried all that. That they brought that team back last year. Yeah, everybody's good now. Everything is done. They're all good. They're all like, this was ridiculous with where we all went with this at the time. It was what it was, but yeah, that's all patched up, all buddies. They all were there for the finals last year and all that. Rondo was in the building and everything. So yeah, it's all good now. Gafford, keep an eye on this, just to go back to that one.
Yeah.
He's going through the process, or at least was, to play for Slovenia too, on the national team. I would not be surprised if that's where that goes.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
but if you're the Mavs, can you even make another trade with the Lakers?
Yeah, I mean,
I guess at this point,
yeah, you can't start taking teams off. There's only 29 other teams.
Right.
You start taking ones off the board for reasons. You're gonna put yourself in a tough spot. But yeah, I mean, you'd have to do well in the trade. You'd have to do okay. But yeah, Gafford's not going to return a super huge value anyway. So we'll see. The guy G was asking about the G League. We got to go. We're way over time.
Yeah.
Just shoot me an email and shoot me an email with your G League free agent right questions, and I'll answer you through email.
All right, everybody. We appreciate all of you. Make sure you subscribe to the NBA Front Office Show on YouTube if you haven't done so already. Have a wonderful weekend. For our next show on Monday, we will know what the playoffs are looking like. Well, without the play-in being resolved at that point, all of that will be finished in the standings. So excited to see that. We've got a ton of great basketball coming up over the weekend. Till next time, see ya and stay safe.